interstellar space. But just go to creation.com and look up that question. I'm trying to stick to questions on genetics. That's really, really, really making me think here. Sir?
So does the genetic evidence favor one theory or another regarding Eve being a clone or Eve being separate genetically?
I think it probably supports the idea that Eve was not a clone. Because of things like the ABO blood group, there are 3 alleles. And there are a couple other things where there are 3 alleles, but most genes come in 2 versions. But enough come in 3 that I have to say, Eve wasn't a perfect clone. But I don't know, and there's a lot of stuff we don't know yet. Sir?
The deceased Ron Wyatt, is it?
Yes.
Wyatt, I believe, reported several years ago on having sampled blood from a tomb below the crucifixion. He claimed that some astounding blood samples and chromosome arrangements. Did Bill get any comments on that?
Ron Wyatt made a lot of astounding claims. And I would like to live 1,000 lifetimes so I could actually live up to 1 or 2 of them, let alone 100 in one lifetime. It's amazing how much one person can do. I don't believe most of what the guy said. And it pains me because I know a lot of Christians do. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about Ron Wyatt, especially a departed brother in the Lord. I'm not savaging him as not calling him a non-Christian. I don't believe his methodology. Sir? Oh, the aliens thing. I would refer you to the book Alien Intrusion, specifically. This was an Amazon Top 50 bestseller when it came out. Gary Bates, who's our head of ministry in our Australian office, wrote it. He's actually coming to the States for the 50th anniversary of Roswell, which is this July. And he's going to be one of the main speakers. Because this is not a book about Christianity. It just happens to be a book happens to be written by a Christian about aliens. And in this book, and I tell you what, when I first heard about this book, I was like, oh, great. A book about aliens by young earth creationists. Oh, he works for CMI. Oh, he's my boss? And then I read his book, okay, and then I listened to his lecture, I watched the DVD, and I relaxed a lot. This really challenged me in a lot of ways. Some things that I had held near and dear theologically that this really made me think about. And I'm not even sure I like the conclusion even now. However, his influence on all the movers and shakers in the big alien movement, and you got to realize there are 10 million people in this country who claim they've been abducted by aliens. And their stories are all the same. Whether or not they'd ever seen Sci-Fi Channel or anything like that. In fact, people from all over the world, their stories are very similar. That they were abducted, there's a little bit of loss of time, they're told they were special, and then they were, let's just say, brutally treated. And from their descriptions of the alien beings, they defy all the known laws of physics. And people who have cited UFOs, they make right angle turns at speeds that would have crushed all the occupants, or they just appear out of nowhere and they merge, or they split, or they change shape. And no one has ever seen a spaceship entering Earth's atmosphere from the outside. We have the technology to see that. Never. They just appear in the atmosphere, or they appear in someone's vision, and then they go outside their vision. And so Gary's conclusion is that 99% of the alien stories are not true. Most alien sightings are Venus. He talks about crop circles in there, shows how crop circles were made by man and the people who admitted doing it, and showed the techniques for making the crop circles and things like that. But then he says there is a core of the alien stories that can't simply be discounted. This is the part that makes me uncomfortable. He says they are very similar amongst people all over the world who have no cultural connection, and they're similar to stories that people have told throughout the centuries. And Gary's conclusion is that these are demons, not aliens, that they're not physical beings, and that they are mean. And the cool thing is all the movers and shakers in the alien movement now agree with Gary that the aliens are not physical and are mean. And so he's been invited to speak at the big Roswell conference. So, you all make your own conclusions on that one. That gets really loopy really quickly, but it's a fascinating read. It's one of our resources not written for Christians. It's not written. There's a gospel presentation in there about 3/4 of the way through it, but it's written on a very matter-of-fact level, written by a Christian about aliens. It's really an interesting